Hello and welcome to the China Repair Studio. So today I thought I would do airbrushing for beginners tutorial. So I have my airbrush here from Evolution, which is I bought on Amazon, and it's a German make. Now with my airbrush I do have a love and hate relationship. It is very finicky, if you like. It has to be completely spotlessly clean. If you have any speck of dust or dry paint, because it's got to go through very tiny channel here, it will block up. So it has to be very clean. Now you can use, and I tend to use, my acrylics, Winsor and Newton ones here, which are the ones which are professional acrylics, and you can also use powder pigments. Now, I do find the acrylics go through better when you're using an airbrush, to be honest, as it's already blended and you just mix it with water and you can just spray. Whereas if you're using powder pigments, you've got to make sure it is 100% dissolved. Otherwise, any small amount of anything left of the paint, it will get again clogged into the airbrush. Now, when you have an airbrush, you also use a compressor, and there's plenty of compressors on the market. The one I have is extremely small. Some are noisier than others. It does chug along, but it's not too bad. I have had compressors before which have been extremely noisy. I'll just show you my compressor here. Is this one here, which I bought off Amazon. It's small and it's not very powerful, but just for this, it really does do the job. So what I've done is I've mixed some paint here, and I've just mixed it in some water. And I've mixed it to the right colour tone of our Staffordshire piece here. And I have used a mixture of my acrylics and also my powder pigments. You can mix them together if you don't have to have one or the other. Now here on the little tiny buckets here, they come in two. There is a smaller and a larger one. That's a larger one if you're doing very large pieces, but I have the smaller one here. Now this person here, my Mr. Wallace, he's not flat like as if you had, say, a plate. His nose full of lumps and bumps, and it's all full of different colours. You may not be able to see here, but can you see he's not just one flat colour? So I've mixed some colours to go with the base, and then after that I'll just get a paintbrush and just add a few little specks to him so he kind of blends in. And then after that, with a brush, I will do a final glaze with my Rustin's ceramic glaze. I don't like using ceramic glaze in the airbrush. You can do it and you can water it down, but if it's watered down it doesn't go shiny. It has to be, if you want a shiny surface, it has to be with no water, I think. And also you've got to be very careful not to bung up the glaze in there, because dry glaze in your airbrush, it's very hard to get out. So we've put some of our product in here. Might add just a tiny bit more, and we'll start to airbrush. So first things first, I'm just going to, it's going to chug now and make a bit of a sound. Here we go, the old compressor. Now I've got a piece of paper here, and I do like to have a practice run first. Now when you're airbrushing, you can just press, and as you pull back on the airbrush, it's more forceful and comes out more. So it's always good to have a practice run first. Always have something protective because it can go everywhere. So let's have a go. Just now let's add a bit more water, because where I've been talking it's dried. As I say, they're very temperamental. Right, let's see how that is. I'm just having a practice on these do come apart here as well. Now I have actually done a previous video on the airbrush on how to actually fix them up. So if you'd like to look at that, so let's just have a go. Let's just get. Now I tend to sometimes actually even take the back part off. I wouldn't advise doing that straight away, but I do find I have more control with this as well. Right, so let's get our piece and start to airbrush him. So I can see some bits here, so get him there, and just very, very gently. You don't need to go much, and you don't need to go too close either. If you go too quickly, you end up with a pool of water. So best to just go very slowly and build up. And the more water you have in there, the more it's going to pool. And you see he's starting to go there. Right, you can see there I've been airbrushing. Right, we'll just leave him to dry for a second and then we'll give him another airbrush. So let's get some more paint in here. Again, I'll add a bit of water. That's why it's good to make quite a big bulk amount of paint, because you want to use exactly the same colour. Right, so again, I'll just do a practice run first. Right, okay, so let's get him there. With lots of different angles. Now it doesn't matter if it's too close to where his hair is, because we can always wipe that afterwards for a nice sharp line. Now if you think it's not coming through, just again use the paper and just, you know, have a practice run to make sure that the colour is going through. And then we'll get another go there. And you don't want to go, when you're spraying, into a complete line. You always want to be sort of moving it around so it's all blending in with everything else. And perhaps just one little bit more. So again, with the paint, I tend to use my brush and just to dab it in there for a final, maybe last bit. Now when you do use the airbrush, it does dry extremely quickly. So again, practice on some paper first. Make sure it's coming through. As I say, so very temperamental. And keep moving the airbrush around to get to all the angles. And then sort of blending through with the rest. Right, I'm quite pleased with that at the moment. You can see it's all blending in. So what I will do, let's just try one more time so we can get some more out there. It's starting to dry a bit, so again, some last little bits. So I do like the control on there. Let's get a bit more there. So you don't want to go too high up, and you've got to keep moving it around because you don't want pools of water. That's better. Again, when you think it's not working, just give it a good old, this will keep it in control, and just keep using your spare piece of paper all the way around there. Is it still working? Let's get another bit there. So I'll give it another dab, just a little bit more, because it's starting to block up. As I say, it's very temperamental. And last little bit. Again, practice on there. And paper. Oh, that's in there. Just blend him in. That's better. Right, so let's turn him off. Right, once you finish with your airbrush, you want to wash it almost immediately because you don't want it to be hanging around and drying. The longer you leave it, the harder it is. So you can put it in some water and then to start to dry. Now I'm going to show you in the next video on actually how to take it apart and how to clean the airbrush. So that will be my next video. Now very quickly, I'm just going to take this off here and put it into water because I don't want it to dry it there. Now, once you actually have got your airbrush and you've finished painting, you just want to get some clear water and just zoom it, the water, clean, clear water through. So then it's then going to really help and get rid of any bits and pieces, and then we'll go through a thorough clean. Now, here we are. Here he is. Now, as you can see, he's had, where we sprayed quite close to the hair, he is slightly misty there. So what we will do is you could use a Q-tip. See if I've got one in here somewhere. Or you could use, let's have a look, something like, another brush. And you can just dip it into some water and then just dry him up, just go very carefully, go through. Q-tip's probably better. There we go, and it just starts to clean him up. so it makes him nice and sharp. Also a cocktail stick if you really want to get it really close to a really good line. As you can see, he is now starting to sharpen up there. So then he's all there. I'll just do this here. Now he's still damp, so I don't want to touch any of him here at the moment. So we'll just do that there, so it's all nice and there you go, there. Then if you haven't got a Q-tip, what you could use is a piece of tissue or kitchen roll with your cocktail stick, and then just put it like that so the cocktail sticks inside, and then you've got a nice line and it's smoother and you're not damaging any existing paint. So you can just do that, just move that along there, that's it, on there. There we go. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some bits and pieces here, because I can see he needs, he's a very flat colour. So the best thing to do is I'm going to paint him in. So let's get some paint. Actually, we'll paint him in, I think, on the next video. Now what I'm going to do with the airbrush now is I'm going to show you how to clean him out with some water. So I'm just going to go and get a bowl and I will show you how to do that. So here we are, you see him all nicely done, ready for painting on top. I think actually I'm going to show you this, I'm going to do this as a separate tutorial, which I will do on my next one. But we're going to leave him to dry and then we're going to hand paint all the extra detail in with him. But as you can see, it's all blending in now. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Again, if you haven't subscribed before, please subscribe and please like, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.